Lucy stood in front of the mirror in the small room at the back of the chapel. Her white wedding dress sparkled in the sunlight coming through the window. She had dreamed of this day for years, and now it was finally here. Her hands shook slightly as she adjusted her veil. "You look beautiful, dear," her mother said, wiping a tear from her eye. Lucy smiled. After 3 years with Oliver, they were about to start their life together as husband and wife. The journey hadn't been easy. They had managed a long-distance relationship while she finished veterinary school. They had supported each other when Oliver's father fell ill. Together, they had fixed up the small cottage where they would live. Through it all, Archie had been by her side. The golden retriever had been Lucy's companion for 7 years. He was more than a pet, he was family. When she first brought Oliver home, she had worried about how Archie would react. But the dog had taken to Oliver right away, wagging his tail and bringing him toys, as if giving his approval. "Archie looks quite handsome himself today," her father said from the doorway. Lucy turned to see Archie sitting proudly in his special collar. The small pockets sewn into it held the wedding rings. He would walk with Lucy down the aisle, carrying the symbols of their love and commitment. "Are you ready?" her father asked, offering his arm. Lucy took a deep breath and nodded. Outside the room, she could hear the soft music playing. Their friends and family were waiting. Oliver was waiting. "I'm ready," she said. Her father led her to the chapel doors, with Archie walking beside them. The music grew louder as the doors opened. Everyone stood up and turned to look at her. Lucy saw many smiling faces, but her eyes quickly found Oliver at the altar. He looked so handsome in his suit, and the love in his eyes made her heart beat faster. She took her first step forward, but something unexpected happened. Archie moved in front of her, blocking her path. Lucy gently tried to guide him to the side, but he wouldn't move. "Archie, come on," she whispered, feeling her cheeks grow warm as people began to whisper. This wasn't like him at all. Archie was well trained and had practiced his role in the wedding many times. But now he barked loudly, something he never did indoors, and turned in circles before planting himself firmly in front of Lucy again. "What's wrong with him?" her father asked quietly. Lucy knelt down, her beautiful dress spreading around her on the floor. She looked into Archie's eyes, trying to understand what was happening. "What is it, boy?" she asked. Archie barked again. Then he grabbed the edge of her dress with his teeth and pulled gently but firmly toward the side door of the chapel. "Lucy? Is everything okay?" Oliver called from the altar, his voice filled with concern. Lucy looked up at the confused faces of their guests. In 7 years, Archie had never acted this way. He was trying to tell her something important. She was sure of it. "I need a minute," she called out to Oliver and the guests. "Something's wrong." She followed Archie as he led her to the side door and out into the garden. Her dress caught on branches and thorns as they walked quickly across the grounds. Her father and one of the bridesmaids followed behind them. "Lucy, where are you going?" her father called. "The wedding." "I have to see what Archie wants," she replied, not slowing down. Archie led them behind the chapel to an old stone building used by the groundskeeper. When they reached the door, he pawed at it frantically and whined. "He wants us to go inside," Lucy said, pushing open the heavy wooden door. As the door swung open, Lucy gasped. Lying on the floor among gardening tools was Mr. Thompson, the elderly groundskeeper who had worked at the chapel for decades. His face was pale and his breathing was shallow. "Mr. Thompson!" Lucy cried, rushing to kneel beside him. His eyes fluttered open. "I was fixing the lights for your wedding," he managed to say. "My chest, it hurts so much." Lucy recognized the signs immediately. Mr. Thompson was having a heart attack. She turned to her father and the bridesmaid who had followed them. "Call an ambulance right away," she shouted. "And get Oliver." As they rushed off, Lucy turned back to Mr. Thompson, checking his pulse while speaking calmly to keep him conscious. Archie sat nearby, watching carefully, his mission accomplished. Lucy realized that if not for Archie's unusual behavior, no one would have found Mr. Thompson until it was too late. Within minutes, the small garden behind the chapel became crowded with people. Oliver rushed out first, followed by several wedding guests who had heard the commotion. He knelt beside Lucy, his face filled with concern. "What happened?" he asked, looking at Mr. Thompson's pale face. "He's having a heart attack," Lucy explained, her voice steady despite the situation. "I've checked his pulse, it's weak and irregular." Oliver immediately pulled out his phone and called for an ambulance, giving clear directions to the chapel. Lucy stayed focused on Mr. Thompson, keeping him conscious by talking to him gently. "Stay with us, Mr. Thompson," she said. "Help is coming. Can you tell me where the pain is?" The elderly man weakly raised his hand to his chest. "Like an elephant sitting on me," he whispered. Lucy nodded. "That's common with heart attacks. Try to stay calm and breathe slowly." Archie sat nearby, watching everything with alert eyes. Every few moments, he would move closer to Mr. Thompson and sniff, as if checking on his condition. "How did you know?" Lucy's mother asked Archie, though of course, the dog couldn't answer. "How did you know someone was in trouble?" Lucy remembered that before she had adopted Archie from the shelter, he had been trained as a therapy dog. He had an uncanny ability to sense when people were in distress, whether physical or emotional. "Some dogs can sense medical emergencies," Lucy explained as she continued to monitor Mr. Thompson. Archie must have smelled something or sensed something was wrong. The sound of sirens grew louder as the ambulance approached the chapel. Oliver went to meet them and guide the paramedics to the garden shed. The wedding guests had gathered in small groups, watching from a distance. Some looked confused, others concerned. Lucy's wedding dress was now dirty from kneeling on the ground, and her carefully arranged hair had fallen loose around her shoulders. But none of that mattered to her now. The paramedics arrived with their equipment, and Lucy moved aside to give them room to work with Mr. Thompson. She explained his symptoms and what she had observed since finding him. "You did the right thing," one paramedic told her. "Your quick action may have saved his life." As they prepared to move Mr. Thompson onto a stretcher, he reached out weakly and caught Lucy's hand. "Thank you," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "And thank your dog." "How did he know?" Lucy smiled and squeezed his hand gently. "Archie has special talents. You just rest now." The paramedics carefully loaded Mr. Thompson into the ambulance. Before they closed the doors, one of them turned to Lucy. "He's stable for now, but it's a good thing you found him when you did. Another 20 minutes and it might have been too late." Lucy felt a shiver run through her body at those words. If Archie hadn't insisted on leading her outside, if she had simply forced him to continue down the aisle, Mr. Thompson might have died alone in that garden shed. After the ambulance drove away, Lucy stood in the garden, suddenly aware of her muddy dress and the fact that her wedding had been completely disrupted. All around her, guests were talking in hushed voices, some looking at their watches. Oliver came to stand beside her, taking her hands in his. "I'm sorry about the wedding," she said, looking down at her stained dress. Oliver tilted her chin up gently, making her look into his eyes. "Don't apologize. What you just did was amazing." "It was Archie who knew something was wrong," Lucy said, looking down at the golden retriever who sat proudly beside them. Oliver knelt and scratched behind Archie's ears. "Then he's even more special than I thought." Lucy's parents approached them, along with the minister who had been waiting to perform the ceremony. "What would you like to do about the wedding?" the minister asked kindly. "We could postpone to another day if you prefer." Lucy looked at Oliver, unsure what to say. Part of her felt they should reschedule, given the circumstances. Her dress was ruined, the timing was off, and everyone was now distracted by what had happened. But Oliver surprised her. "I think we should continue," he said firmly. "If Lucy agrees." "Continue? Now?" Lucy asked, surprised. Oliver nodded. "What just happened showed me, even more than I already knew, what a remarkable person you are. Your compassion, your quick thinking under pressure, these are reasons I want to marry you today, right now, more than ever." He turned to address the gathered guests. "Today we've all witnessed something more important than a perfect ceremony. We've seen what it means to put others first, to respond to someone in need. That's what marriage is about too, being there for each other, no matter what. The guests murmured in agreement, and Lucy felt tears welling up in her eyes. I would be honored to continue our wedding today, she said, squeezing Oliver's hands. Archie barked once, as if giving his approval, and everyone laughed, the tension breaking. Then let's give you a few minutes to freshen up, the minister suggested, and we'll resume the ceremony. 20 minutes later, Lucy stood once again at the back of the chapel. Her mother and bridesmaids had done their best to clean her dress, but some garden stains still showed on the hem. Her carefully styled hair was now simply brushed and held back with a few pins. It wasn't perfect, but none of that seemed important anymore. Ready to try again? Her father asked with a gentle smile. Lucy nodded. Yes. And this time, I think Archie will behave. The golden retriever sat beside her, looking much calmer now. He held his head high, as if proud of what he had done. Lucy bent down and hugged him. You're the best dog in the world, she whispered in his ear. The music began again, and the chapel doors opened. This time, when Lucy stepped forward with her father, Archie walked calmly beside them. The guests rose from their seats, but their faces showed something different this time, not just the usual wedding joy, but a new respect and admiration. As they moved slowly down the aisle, Lucy saw Oliver waiting for her at the altar. His eyes were full of love and pride. When she reached him, he took her hands in his and whispered, "You're amazing." The minister began the ceremony with words that touched everyone's hearts. Today, we have witnessed something remarkable, he said. We came to celebrate love between two people, but we were shown a greater kind of love, the kind that puts others first, that responds to need, that values life above convenience or plans. Lucy and Oliver exchanged their vows with deeper emotion than they might have before. When the time came for the rings, Archie sat up straight. Oliver carefully opened the small pocket on the dog's collar and removed the 2 gold bands. As they completed their vows and were pronounced husband and wife, the chapel doors opened once more. Everyone turned to see an older woman hurrying in. Lucy recognized her as Mary, Mr. Thompson's daughter. Mary approached them as they walked back down the aisle. Her eyes were red from crying, but she was smiling. I just came from the hospital, she said. Dad is stable. The doctors said if he hadn't been found so quickly. She couldn't finish her sentence. Instead, she hugged Lucy tightly, not caring about the formal wedding setting. Thank you. Thank you both. She bent down to pet Archie. And thank you, clever dog. How did you know my father needed help? No one could answer that question, but it didn't matter. What mattered was that Archie had known, and he had made sure Lucy listened. The reception was held in the garden of the chapel. Tables were set up under the trees, with simple flowers in jars as centerpieces. It wasn't the formal dinner they had planned, but somehow it felt more meaningful. During the meal, Lucy and Oliver stood to make a toast. Oliver spoke first. Today didn't go as planned, he said, smiling at the guests. But I think it was better than we could have hoped. We were reminded of what truly matters, not perfect ceremonies or unblemished dresses, but caring for others and responding when someone needs help. Lucy raised her glass. I'd like to make a special toast to Archie, who showed us today that sometimes the best path isn't the one we had planned. And to Mr. Thompson, who we hope will recover quickly. Everyone raised their glasses, and several people bent to pat Archie, who was lying contentedly under the head table, enjoying scraps that guests secretly passed to him. Later, as the sun began to set and soft lights came on in the garden, Lucy and Oliver had their first dance as husband and wife. Instead of the polished performance they had practiced, they simply held each other close and moved gently to the music. Not exactly the wedding day we planned, Oliver said softly. No, Lucy agreed. It was much more meaningful. I always knew you were special, Oliver said. The way you care for animals, for people. But seeing you today, so calm in a crisis, so willing to put everything on hold to help someone, it made me fall in love with you all over again. Lucy rested her head on his shoulder. And I fell in love with you again too, seeing how you understood without question why we needed to help, how you supported me. From his spot near the dance floor, Archie watched his humans with contented eyes. His job was done. The old man was safe, and his beloved Lucy was happy. He closed his eyes, ready for a well-deserved nap. As evening fell fully, small lights twinkled in the trees of the garden. Guests chatted and laughed, children played on the lawn, and the newlyweds moved from table to table, thanking everyone for staying. No one mentioned the stained wedding dress or the delayed ceremony. Instead, they talked about Archie's remarkable insight and Mr. Thompson's lucky escape. What could have been remembered as a disrupted wedding would instead be remembered as a day when love showed itself in unexpected ways. The next morning, Lucy and Oliver woke early in their cottage. They had planned to leave for their honeymoon right after the wedding, but after yesterday's events, they decided to delay their trip by one day. "I'd like to visit Mr. Thompson in the hospital before we go," Lucy said as she poured coffee for both of them. "Would you mind?" "Of course not," Oliver replied. "I was thinking the same thing." Archie sat between them, his head moving from one to the other as they spoke, as if following the conversation. When Lucy mentioned the hospital, his ears perked up. "Yes, you can come too," she told him, patting his head. "I think they'll make an exception for the dog who saved a life." They drove to the town hospital, a small building with just 3 floors. At the reception desk, Lucy explained who they were and why they had come. "Oh, you're the wedding couple," the nurse exclaimed. "Everyone's been talking about what happened. Come with me." She led them to Mr. Thompson's room on the 2nd floor. The old groundskeeper was sitting up in bed, looking much better than he had the day before. His daughter Mary sat in a chair beside him, and both their faces lit up when Lucy, Oliver, and Archie entered the room. "There they are," Mr. Thompson said, his voice stronger now. "My guardian angels. How are you feeling?" Lucy asked, moving to his bedside. "Much better, thanks to you 3, he replied. "The doctors say I had a major heart attack. If you hadn't found me when you did." He shook his head, unable to finish the thought. Mary stood up and hugged Lucy. "Dad's going to need surgery, but the doctors are hopeful for a full recovery." She bent down to stroke Archie, who wagged his tail happily. "This dog is incredible. The nurses don't usually allow animals in here, but when they heard what he did, they made an exception." Mr. Thompson reached out to pat Archie's head. "I still don't understand how he knew I was in trouble. I was all the way behind the chapel, inside the shed with the door closed." Lucy thought about it. "Archie was a therapy dog before I adopted him. He's always been sensitive to people in distress. Maybe he smelled something or sensed something we humans couldn't." "Whatever it was, I'm grateful," Mr. Thompson said. "You know, I've worked at that chapel for 40 years. I've seen hundreds of weddings. But I've never seen anything like what you did yesterday." "It was all Archie," Lucy said modestly. "No," Mary disagreed. "It was you too." Many people would have ignored their dog's strange behavior and forced him to continue with the ceremony. "You listened. You trusted him." Oliver nodded. "That's one of the many reasons I love her." A doctor entered the room then, clipboard in hand. "Mr. Thompson is doing well, but he needs his rest," she said kindly but firmly. Lucy and Oliver said their goodbyes, promising to visit again when they returned from their honeymoon. As they turned to leave, Mr. Thompson called out to them. "Wait. I have something for you." He motioned for Mary to bring him a small box from the bedside table. "I've been making these for years, just as a hobby," he explained, opening the box. Inside were 2 beautifully carved wooden figures, a bride and groom, with a small dog standing between them. "I started these weeks ago, planning to give them to you as a wedding gift," he said. "I finished the dog just yesterday morning before I fell ill." "It seems almost like I knew, doesn't it?" Lucy took the carvings, deeply touched by the gift. "They're beautiful." "Thank you." After leaving the hospital, Lucy and Oliver walked with Archie through the town park. The story of what had happened at their wedding had spread quickly, and several people stopped them to ask about it. "Is that the hero dog?" an elderly woman asked, bending to pet Archie. "Yes, this is Archie," Lucy said proudly. "What an amazing story," the woman said. "You know, I've always believed that animals understand more than we give them credit for." As they continued their walk, Oliver took Lucy's hand. "Our wedding is going to be remembered in this town for a long time," he said. "But not for the reasons we expected." "I'm okay with that," Lucy replied. "I wouldn't change what happened. It taught me something important on our very first day of marriage." "What's that?" Oliver asked. "That plans aren't always the most important thing. Sometimes, you have to trust your instincts, or your dog's instincts, and be willing to change course when something matters more." They watched as Archie trotted ahead of them on the path, nose to the ground, tail wagging. He looked like an ordinary dog now, not the hero who had saved a man's life the day before. "Do you think he knows what he did?" Oliver wondered. "Does he understand how special it was?" Lucy smiled. "I think he just knew someone needed help, and he made sure they got it. That's what makes him special, not that he understands, but that he cares." They walked on through the park, the three of them together, heading home to finish packing for their honeymoon, a new family forged not just by vows spoken in a chapel, but by actions that showed the true meaning of love. 2 months after their wedding day, Lucy and Oliver had settled into married life in their cottage. The wooden carvings Mr. Thompson had given them sat on their mantelpiece, a daily reminder of their unusual wedding day. Archie continued his normal life as their beloved pet, seemingly unaware of his heroic status in the town. One sunny afternoon, Lucy arrived home from her veterinary clinic to find an envelope in their mailbox. Inside was a letter from the town council. "What's this about?" Oliver asked as he prepared dinner in their small kitchen. "I'm not sure," Lucy replied, opening the letter. As she read it, her eyes widened in surprise. "The town wants to honor Archie. They're creating an award for animals who help people, and Archie will be the first recipient." Oliver smiled. "That's wonderful. He deserves it." Lucy knelt down and showed Archie the letter. "Did you hear that, boy? You're going to get an award." Archie tilted his head, then licked her face, making her laugh. The ceremony was set for the following weekend in the town square. As the day approached, Lucy realized how nervous she felt about speaking in front of the town. "What if people think we're making too much of this?" she asked Oliver the night before the ceremony. "It's been 2 months. Maybe they've forgotten or don't care anymore." "Trust me," Oliver said, "no one has forgotten. Mr. Thompson certainly hasn't." Indeed, Mr. Thompson had recovered well from his surgery. He had retired from his job at the chapel but had taken up woodcarving full-time. Lucy and Oliver visited him regularly, and Archie always received special treats during these visits. The morning of the ceremony arrived bright and clear. Lucy put a new blue collar on Archie and brushed his golden coat until it shone. "You look very handsome," she told him. Archie wagged his tail as if he understood the importance of the day. When they arrived at the town square, Lucy was stunned to see how many people had gathered. It seemed like the whole town had turned out. In the front row sat Mr. Thompson and his daughter Mary, both smiling broadly. The mayor, a kind woman named Mrs. Bennet, called Lucy, Oliver, and Archie to the small stage that had been set up. "Today we honor a very special member of our community," she announced to the crowd. 2 months ago, Archie, a golden retriever belonging to Lucy and Oliver Wright, showed extraordinary awareness when he sensed that Mr. Thompson, our longtime chapel groundskeeper, was having a heart attack. Mrs. Bennet continued, describing how Archie had blocked the wedding procession and led Lucy to Mr. Thompson. Thanks to Archie's actions and Lucy's quick response, Mr. Thompson received medical help in time. The doctors have confirmed that without this timely intervention, the outcome could have been very different. The mayor then revealed a small bronze plaque that would be placed in the town park. It read, "In honor of Archie and all animals who serve our community with their special gifts. May we always listen when they have something to tell us." Mr. Thompson came forward, walking slowly but steadily. "I wouldn't be here today if not for this dog," he said simply. "I've always believed animals have wisdom we can't understand. Archie proved it." Lucy was then asked to say a few words. She had worried about what to say, but standing there, looking at the kind faces of her neighbors, the words came easily. "Archie taught us an important lesson on our wedding day," she said. "Sometimes, the things that seem like interruptions or problems are actually pointing us toward what really matters. If Archie hadn't stopped our wedding, Mr. Thompson might not have survived. We learned to listen, to pay attention, and to be willing to change our plans when something more important comes along." She knelt beside Archie. "We don't know how Archie knew Mr. Thompson was in trouble. But we're grateful he did, and that he was persistent enough to make us listen." After the ceremony, many people came to pet Archie and congratulate Lucy and Oliver. Children asked if they could take pictures with the hero dog, and Archie patiently allowed all the attention, wagging his tail and accepting treats from admiring townspeople. Later that evening, as they walked home through the park, they stopped to look at Archie's plaque, now installed on a small stone near the park entrance. "How strange life is," Lucy mused. "Our wedding day didn't go as planned at all, but I wouldn't change a thing about it now." Oliver put his arm around her. "It was perfect in its own way. And now we have this amazing story to tell our children someday." They watched as Archie sniffed around the grass, completely uninterested in his own plaque or his moment of fame. To him, it had been just another day, another person who needed help. That was what made animals so special, Lucy thought. They acted from pure instinct and love, without any desire for recognition or reward. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the park, Lucy felt a deep sense of gratitude. Their wedding day had taught them what truly mattered in life and in marriage. Being willing to put others first, listening when something seems wrong, and trusting that sometimes the unexpected path is exactly the one you're meant to take. Archie trotted back to them, tennis ball in mouth, ready to play. Hero or not, he was still their beloved dog, and that was all that mattered to him.